Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR394. It's NXT update. I'm not alone, though. I have the pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, fella?
I'm doing fine. Finally released from the bowels of the internet or deep in the wrestling podcast dungeon where you're forced to just watch old wrestling over and over or watch NXT 2.0 and over and over and over again. It's been on a loop, but I'm here and I'm ready to do this. So,
it's always glad. I'm always glad to have you on. And of course, the people emailing saying we wanted more Monty. I've definitely got that. Like I said, I have got you locked up and ready for NXT update. We have 5 episodes to endure.
Some way.
I mean, enjoy, not endure.
But to survive.
Yeah, it's like a cyber series of to survive. But last time you joined a live show by Jaxie and June as well. How did you find that experience? All gear to the pay-per-view.
Oh man, it was fun. I loved going through the of course the match debates and just talking in general about different promotions. It's cool. Like I said, usually besides what's been going on recently, usually I'm only talking about NXT. So it's cool to not only hear your perspectives on other product, but to hear other people that are part of the WNR team hear their perspective. So it was cool to talk to Jaxie and meet her twin, and it was all fun. It was a very, very good time, and the pay-per-view was well worth the money and fun. It was completely fun. The only match I didn't really even watch or enjoy was probably the match I told you guys I wouldn't enjoy, and that was the MMA Hour with Chris Jericho and the crew. But even that match, I think looking back, had some cool moments. So it was fun. I don't overall, I don't know if I can compare it to All Out. I don't know if it's as special as All Out it was altogether, but it was, man, at one point I was like, oh my God, this pace, but it was fun. It was really, really fun. It was a strong show, and I thought the podcast that we did, the group effort, I thought that was also strong. So it was cool.
And also, congratulations, smashed the predictions as well. Beating, you won overall. I'm sure you've gone back and listened to it, but I think you're scored 9 out of 10 when it came out. The predictions only super click. And and I even said to Jaxie, and this is the guy that does NXT, so God knows.
It's a great point, yeah. And I don't even know. I think it was just luck of the draw, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I watch enough that I'm able to predict these things. But I know. I heard. I'm happy to know that a lot, and I definitely was keeping note. Like, this turned out pretty well as we're going. I couldn't believe it. I was actually pleasantly surprised that Jungle Boy and the crew won. But it was cool. I cannot believe that's a really good ratio. Now that I think about it. And you're right, because I honestly, AEW is something that I watch and I keep up with, but I'm not gonna act like I've always been like. For example, most of this run of the last 5 to 6 weeks, if it wasn't for my DVR, I probably wouldn't have caught up for Full Gear. So, it's pretty much how I keep up on most of my wrestling, because it's almost impossible for me to watch everything as it airs. So, this is cool. It's cool. Like you said, I don't even get a chance. That's not even my primary responsibility, but I gave you guys the best predictions I could, and I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, you gave us an arse without a shadow of a doubt there. You beat us into submission. But another thing I'm worried about is, obviously, we do these shows together, and I'm starting to think the combination of you and I together is somewhat of a jinx.
We're dangerous.
Well, yeah. It's just because the preparation a week before, you go, yeah, you ready for the show at the weekend, yeah. And then usually on the Thursday or Friday, you get some massive bit of news. And this year, has been WWE releases. It is like, and anybody listens for the first time, seriously, go back and listen to the updates and the news. It's like, we have blasted the roster. And there was a tweet I saw.
It's a terrifying trend.
Oh, without that. And there's a tweet that I think you retweeted as well, saying that WWE released more wrestlers than Impact have wrestlers overall, which is just crazy.
It's insane, man. Mental. I don't even know. Again, what more can you say except that? You just leave that one tweet right there, and that just explains everything. that you just said perfectly. Because I don't think as long as I don't know about you, but as long as I've been a fan, I mentioned it on my podcast that people were released and these things happen, and that's probably why I'm not as heartbroken as I see a lot of people who. It was a lot of guys when I was growing up. I wanted them to always come back to WWE, and that never happened. Or it did happen, and it was way too late by the time they did come back, and they weren't the same, or situations were different, whatever it is. And I remember back at that time when people were released, there were nowhere to go. There's no other promotions. It wasn't social media around, so you can keep tabs on those guys. So maybe since I've been watching wrestling for so long, I don't get as emotionally attached when a lot of this stuff happens. But I can't lie, man. When you just start seeing all this stuff happen repeatedly, and it's just so many people. And like I when you said that, I retweeted this. I made sure to mention that is what happened when you hoard talent years ago when they were continuing to sign a lot of people and locking them into these 5-year contracts. And now we keep hearing about budget cuts, whether you believe if that's the reason or not. I'm not surprised after a while when you think about it, because if they can release that many talent and still believe they have more than enough talent to run the massive amount of shows that they run and the big corporation that they have, and they still think they have enough on the roster without all of this talent they've let go, that just shows you that they were hoarding talent, and they were probably, they had. I'm not going to say it's a such thing as maybe it is a such thing as too much talent. Maybe this is what happened in WWE overall when you think about it. But I don't know. In certain cases you can't lie, like they just dropped the ball too. And I don't know. You haven't specifically said any of the releases, but it's only really one thing from this recent wave that kind of took me aback in that way. But it's just crazy, man.
Well, like you said, we this round of cuts, as it is, we had Jackson Riker, which we've been waiting for him to be released for a long, long time.
We don't know how he lasted as long as
exactly.
he did.
Drake Maverick, unfortunately, but he's a touch of class, and the reason why he hasn't been released sooner is he gives those puppy dog eyes. But, like I said, as Rockstar Spud, there's a place in Impact, along with maybe another one that's quite surprising was John Morris, because obviously with the Miz turn on him and dancing on the stars is a bigger priority than John Morrison.
Do you understand how frustrating that is? Like, you wait to see what Morrison would be when he's out of that goofy, call back to their former team, and they do the beat down just for me is to go to Dancing with the Stars and just to forget all about Morrison. Morrison is nowhere. I think the last time I seen him before this, he was just sitting in some crates talking weird on Raw about nothing. So I don't even understand how you could see someone like Morrison he reminds me of Rey Mysterio in the fact that he just seems like time hasn't affected him when it comes to stuff he still is able to do. So to lose him, but the only reason why that one didn't shock me as much, even though, it sucks, because a week before, I think it's a week or 2 weeks before his wife was released, Talia Valkyrie, a.k.a. Frankie Monet. So I wasn't really surprised. It's kind of like when I saw Scarlett was gone, I was expecting hearing Cross's names, the same kind of thing here with Morrison, even though I thought Morrison had a lot of potential for what he could do, even besides with Miz. I thought he could be just a great guy, because even though he's older, he's one of those older guys where it seems like it hasn't stopped him in the ring at all. So I don't understand why they just let him go, but another one bites the dust, so to speak.
This is the thing, and I think with John Morrison, he's got a history with WWE of them just not knowing what to do with him. Go back to Johnny Nitro when he was a young, fresh guy for the Intercontinental title against Jeff Hardy, and then they just didn't know where to go from there. And you could say maybe a bit of personality, but what he can do in the ring. Another was a bit of a shame, of course, Tegan Knox, who suffered three ACL injuries.
That one was hard to think about.
Well, she would have been a Mae Young Classic, of course, missed that out and struggled. And then got a re-debut in NXT. We saw the battery charging, if anybody remembers that. And then, of course, being called up to the main roster with Shotzi and then taken apart then. It's just a bit of a head-scratcher because she's talent, but you just think, I don't know anymore. This investing in talent.
Yeah, exactly. She's very talented, and I think she could, I think she had a bright future, and I think she still has one, wherever she ends up or whatever she decides to do. But I just know people don't really necessarily talk about it, but we know how it can be coming before you already have a name. If you already have a name in WWE and you run into the injury bug, it's a different story. But if you're just coming up and the higher ups may not know much about you, and you have those unfortunately and just like terribly timed too. Let's just be honest, like you mentioned, the Mae Young Classic, and then the second time it was just a horrible, like the way it was timed. It was just like it's been very, very unfortunate. She has some of the worst luck, when you think about it, when it comes to injuries, and I think that may have played a factor in her release because they may not want to publicize or talk about it, but if you get labeled as damaged goods in any way as an athlete, like it don't matter what sport, a lot of times when people think you're damaged, they will ship you out of there. And I think she may have been labeled as that, even though I don't necessarily buy it or like that logic when it comes to Tegan, because I think she has so much potential and she already worked herself to the bone to get back again. You know what I mean? So why not? The women's division isn't the deepest thing in the world, especially on the main roster. So why take away from that? But, again, I must repeat, another one bites the dust.
Well, what I'm not going to say is when I watch NXT is that these are going to be stars or whatever. It seems that everybody else said this year, from Bronson Reed to Frankie Monet, it's just not worked out. But the one that we shot, we were shocked when B-Ab was released a couple of weeks ago and we spoke about it. And then there's just like this Top Dollar, Shante Adonis, Isaiah Swerve, Scott, who I said, just every time I see him, he's got that star. And mate, he's a star. He's just, I can't take my eyes off him. They've released Hit Row. Has there been a bigger fumbling? I was trying to think, it was like, imagine a Shield debuting at Survivor Series and then having a release go a month later saying, we've come to the terms because... What the fuck? Hit Row. They couldn't miss. It was, and they just, I can't.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. As of course, I don't know if anything is true. Just what you hear about. I think Wrestling Observer may have talked about it the month before about Top Dollar possibly rubbing people the wrong way. Not the first time. I think they mentioned this with even Keith Lee. Not when you hear a thing after the fact, they get released, and now you hear that they were difficult or whatever they try to label people as. Either way it go, I don't understand. Even the more I dug into that explanation, the less sense it made to me, because they were saying that maybe he called and said something about B-Fab being released and thought that was fake. And they, like I said, they said he rubbed the people the wrong way. It's just rumors, whatever. Take it with a grain. But
so can I just say, like, people go rubbing the wrong way. Randy Orton used to shit in Divas bags.
Yeah, I can come up with all types of. Come on now, like that's. Even if that is the case, that can't be the only reason or whatever. If that is the case, whatever, that's crazy. Especially when we know, because like they also confirmed this, they thought Vince looked at him as the possible star out of there, not Swerve, not something. And we know because we can appreciate what he already was doing in NXT. Anybody who, unless you're insane, if you look at Swerve and you can't see star power, you can't watch him wrestle. Watch him wrestle and you don't see what he can do. Man, like I said, that's just like Keith Lee. What a massive mistake letting Swerve go, in my opinion. That is, I don't understand that. But from what I'm hearing, they had a problem with Top Dollar. And once Vince McMahon was like, okay, we can release Top Dollar, then everybody else just went by the wayside, which is just crazy to me when you think about it. Like, think about how out of the loop. Not saying Top Dollar wouldn't have been a big star, because, of course, he's huge. He could talk. I thought, of course, he had potential to be a big star. But if you look at that group and you can't see that Swerve is the one, if you were going to get rid of Top Dollar, you got to at least hold on to Swerve just based on his history. It just shows how unaware. Like, what the hell have we been watching NXT for as in regards of looking at it as developmental? Because it does seem like the guy who makes the decision in the end actually watches it, because he can't watch it and tell me that he looked at Swerve and saw nothing, even before Hit Row, if you see what I'm saying. And of course, while he had Hit Row going, he was doing some of the best work when they let him work. So I don't understand it. And that was the one that really perplexed me the most, just because they were just on SmackDown. It was like literally a week after Sami Zayn was warning them. So now it looks like they should have took Sami Zayn advice. If you know what I mean. Like, it's so funny. It's so crazy to me. Like, it didn't, like, and if you watch, I'm pretty sure I caught up and watched as much as I could of SmackDown of the other day. And watching it right after the releases and how they just zoom past it. We're just gonna here go Roman. You guys forget about what you read yesterday. Let's just Roman go out there and make them forget.
that is the answer to every. And you think what happens when Roman says what they're going to do? And this is a problem. It's been a problem for the past stars, and they don't see outsiders as their own, like a Punk or Bryan, so they don't get respected enough. No one gets on the Triple H and Undertaker level, and it's just the same thing over again. You can go through, but you can go back to your MVPs and your Mr. Kennedys and your John Morrisons, and even, like you said, we've wasted our time watching NXT and getting emotionally invested in these wrestlers, because the last 3 years has meant nothing to Vince, and you look at and
exactly.
You get one or two, or maybe 3 who get through, and NXT has just been a massive waste of time, and it has given more talent to AEW, and they've used them better than WWE have done.
In a few months, or like post December, we may have the original incarnation of the Undisputed Era in AEW. It's possible, and then we could possibly have Kevin Owens possibly gone in January also to most likely AEW. And like you said, and when that's another person from the NXT days that you, like you said, you're looking at it back when they were building NXT, when Triple H was making sure he told everyone that NXT was building the future of his company. And in a lot of ways, it still has. Big E, like he's a former NXT champion. We got Roman, who, even though he's kind of like pre-NXT era type of development. I understand with Rollins as the first NXT champion. I understand they still have certain parts of that, even with their women's division. Like, we get that, but like you just said, the last 3 years, all of the talent, all of the hard work, all of the building of stars. Like I said, we have people like Shinsuke Nakamura, who were such a big deal in NXT. Now, I didn't even remember that he was the one I didn't even remember he was the Intercontinental Champion. I definitely believe recently I seen him losing to Angel Garza in a throwaway tag match when he got a guy who does nothing mostly but play the guitar there, who could take the pin for him, but they rather make Shinsuke lose. Like, anyway, that's just a small thing, but I'm just saying it just shows you the awareness of, like you said, of what guys were when they were in NXT. I can go down the list of guys who are still on the main roster, who they are currently at this moment ignoring what they were when they were in NXT. So at this point, you're just watching NXT for something else to watch on Tuesday.
Well,
feel the rest of your week out at this point. You're just feeling the rest of your week out.
It's a massive waste of time, and it's awful at the moment. So now it is time for NXT update. Let's get to it then.
I just did a great job building this review up, you guys. I know you guys just can't wait for this after that introduction.
Yeah, well, 5 episodes to get on with. So we start on October 19th. The show opens with a recap of Carmella Hayes winning the NXT North American Championship last week. We see Hayes and Trick Williams arriving to celebrate the champion. The final boss put himself over as the top title holder on the brand. However, Gargano interrupted. He wanted to go back to compete and was looking directly at the North American Championship as Trick threatened Johnny Wrestling. Dexter Loomis backed up his father-in-law and sent Melo running, and Gargano stole the NXT North American belt from Melo. This wasn't a bad opening segment. Melo actually got quite a nice reception.
Yeah, Melo has continued to impress in more ways than one. I was gonna say this anyway, but I might as well go ahead and get it out the way now. He's by far, if you want to even consider him a 2.0 guy, I consider that little phase of when he was in the breakout tournament. He a part of the black and yellow era. You know what I mean? He may be at the fringe, he may be part of the end, but he's still a part of it, right? I guess we can say that. Either way it go, he is definitely one of the most impressive of the newer faces that's been leading the charge of NXT lately, and I think the fans appreciate that.
Yeah, and is Johnny maybe putting someone over before leaving? I mean, say it ain't so. We can't afford to lose Gargano, can we?
No, Gargano and Ciampa, I really, like I said, and I'm going to throw Io in that category. Not saying she shouldn't leave, because I really do expect her to. But it's just they make NXT still feel like NXT when they're there. Even when they're involved with new faces or things that may not be the most interesting, they are that familiarity that you need, the pillars that and the people you can count on to give you something interesting every time they're on camera. And I agree, it just wouldn't be right, Gargano without NXT. And the way people from NXT gets treated on the main roster, I don't even really want to see another version of Gargano. They're gonna put a helmet on Gargano. Oh my God.
Well, this is the thing. When you hear, WWE making a play at Gargano, you think, don't fuck it up like you did Adam Cole.
Yeah, you're gonna manage. You're gonna bring Johnny wrestling to do something other than wrestle.
Fucking hell.
Okay, anyway, let's not overreact to something.
We're not negative. We are positive outlook. We got Andre Chase versus Odyssey Jones next. Chase managed to ground Odyssey by targeting. Jones was largely unfazed by the Professor's offense. The students, he planted Chase for a running splash to take a win. What were your thoughts? This has been a featured feud on NXT.
Yeah, I know. This match is over in 5 minutes. Y'all gonna hear it throughout this entire review. I wrote it down plenty of times. Trust me. You're gonna hear me say this is. I call it squickety squash for a reason. Y'all gonna hear me saying squickety squash is a lot, so you might as well just prepare yourself.
Drinking game.
Anyway, John, seriously, a drinking game. Yeah, do that. I apologize ahead of time for your hangover. Jones may have a bright future. I really do think he has one, but I just have to see him do more. And at this point, when this happened, he kind of he's not stagnant quite yet, but a lot of his things he's doing has been in this formula of like short bursts of matches for the most part, other than the stuff with Carmelo, I think. But it was what it was. It was a squash. So yeah. I have nothing really much else to add to it.
I'm glad you had something, because mine was Jones looks okay. Chase wears a jump. Time of mine. I'm walking alone backstage, and Malcolm Bivens cuts a promo. He's done my night, asked for opportunity to take him. We then get Creed Brothers, Brutus Imperium, Fabian Eichner, and Marcel Barthel. Stronger involved to distract Imperium. Just as Diamond looked ready to take the Jiro, Kushida arrived, distracted Brutus enough for Barthel to stack him up for free. And afterwards, MSK attacked Imperium and gave him a title shot for Halloween Havoc. Jiro interrupted Kushida in the bathroom and convinced him to put back on the Back to the Future attire to find his style for future team up 2. Kushida was my Wrestler of the Year, June. And then they kind of done this. But the Creed Brothers losing as well. I mean, what were your...
it was cool to see the Creed Bros in a tag match with actual credible competition. I have to say that. I did think it was a little early for them to actually get pinned. I thought they were going to do the whole dominant tag team thing all the way until, maybe until a championship match, or even post winning a championship. Who knows? They could have went on with that if they wanted to. But it is what it is. No one's going to be undefeated. It seemed like Imperium were the good guys in this segment, which was surprising. You know what I mean? Interesting, but surprising, because they've never really ever been the good guys. Nonetheless, the Creed Bros also has a bright future, like I mentioned earlier. But I think we could see possibly a good match. I think we could have seen a better match with a little bit more time, but the finish was what it was. MSK coming out and getting booed, though, is really nothing new. But to that extent, they did do a legit. I guess they were trying to get payback, but they did look like the dicks in this situation, because they kind of attacking from behind. So that was interesting. But this I appreciate seeing Imperium getting a victory, because they were kind of forgotten there, in the tag division. So it's kind of cool that they, at this point, they were getting more of a push.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why the Creed Brothers were wearing their pajamas to the ring, but anyway.
Yeah.
We get a video package of Von Wagner taking Kyle O'Reilly into the Great Outdoors to some extreme hiking. Now, I've seen Brokeback Mountain, and if that's what they want to go up to, that is fine. But they have some beers, and they say they can do a lot of damage. I mean, what the fuck is this?
I don't know.
What the fuck is it?
Yeah, they usually bore the hell out of me anyway, but Wagner picking up the tree and I don't know what to say about this, other than the fact that it happened, and I was, I think you have the adequate reaction. Yeah, why is this here and who cares? But whatever.
We get a Cora Jade video package, and then Joe Gacy gets a promo. He says, "We don't need violence to settle our differences, and a microaggression thrown our way. He has empathy and will speak for us and make a stronger coalition than we ever could be as individuals." It's filled that he's across some glass from Haaland, and he tells him to follow him.
Is Haaland in prison?
What? Again?
I have a question. That glass threw me off. Is he in prison, and why? Or why is he doing this? Is this a conjugal visit? What is this?
It's just Parker Bordeaux on Twitter, or before he changed it, was one of the most intimidating looking guys out. And it's just, what, again, I'm going to do it. What the fuck? I'm going to say this a lot of times as well.
It's just for the sake of doing it. And maybe he sucks so bad at promos. They're like, nope, we're going to shave your head and make you stoic. You got tattoos. We're going to go with the whole tortured soul, whatever, psychopath type of thing. Michael Myers, just October. I don't know. Whatever. It's just like, you can just tell somebody was just throwing stuff at the wall. Put this on. Try this on, Parker. Do this. It's weird. I don't understand it, but, I don't know. I wish that's another thing. Some of these character introductions would do better with someone explaining things. Because right now, I don't know if Haaland is an ex-con and he just seeking counsel from Gacy or whatever. I don't know.
He might be Nails' son to come back to
exactly.
Get
giving me Nails vibes. Yeah. If it was an orange jumpsuit, we would have our answer. Either way it go. I didn't understand the whole plexiglass touching thing, but whatever.
Well, exactly. Well, we get Legado del Fantasma in the Santos Escobar calls Carmelo Hayes out and calls him a lucky son of a bitch. And then we get Cora Jade versus Electra Lopez. And while Lopez dominated Jade throughout the match, she got an inside cradle that gave Jade a surprise 3 count. Forget Baxter. She is Mandrews' dream girl, I think, with the skateboard. Back-to-back wins on NXT, always a good thing as well.
Oh, yeah, just right. Not repetitive at all. Another match done in under 5 minutes, I literally wrote this. Oh, I hate this. Okay, I wrote this too. James, what are we even reviewing right now? Anyway, another surprise roll-up.
It is true. Well, at least we got Bron Breakker. We got Bron Breakker and Tommaso Ciampa. Yeah. Bron says he won't be pinned tonight. Tom said he's so intent on protecting his lead. And then we see Io Shirai entrance. Back from commercial, we get some Twitter videos from over the weekend of LA Knight and Grayson Waller pitching to host Halloween Havoc. Wrestle for the right later tonight. And then Io Shirai versus Jacy James versus Persia Pirotta. The Genius Sky laid out both women with a moonsault in the apron. Due to early injuries, Jane was unable to continue. I guess that's why the suicide dive. Pirotta looked surprisingly dominant when it came down to Shirai. But Shirai fought back, ending the match with over moonsault. Shirai spun the wheel, determining the deal, which would be a Stairway to Hell ladder match. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, well, originally when I saw what was coming, I wrote that if EO didn't win, I might lose it. But thank you. I had to thank Barrett for immediately acknowledging that it really doesn't matter who spins the damn wheel. I did not understand why they had to have a match over. It doesn't give anyone an advantage. Spinning the wheel is random, right? I thought that was the point of the wheel. But anyway, Persia looked the most green, but she looked also the strongest at times in the match. And then Jacy killing herself with that dive was definitely. I didn't know if she was going to come back. I didn't know if she was fine or that was something serious there. Definitely didn't look great. And it was 1-on-1 after that. So kudos to Ito for making Persia look legit, in my opinion. At times, I thought Persia looked really good and strong. So the winner was never in doubt, though. You know what I mean? So this was cool, but EO win, and like I said, it didn't really matter that she got to spin the wheel. But yay, EO got to spin the wheel. and she earned it. So.
Well, EO is so cool. There's no doubt about that. And you see how she didn't land on her head on him. See the moonsault not landing on her head. Maybe Lance Archer can start watching her.
Dirty.
Footage of Legado beating Trey Baxter up in front of Cora Jade. That won't matter in a couple of weeks. Tony D'Angelo video promo. We get Kushida Ikemanjiro vignette, and then Tony D'Angelo versus Ru Theng, RuPaul's brother, looks like. We see Tony D'Angelo took a boot to the face from Ru, and he hit a series of suplexes to a stunning net breaker for the victory. Afterwards, Samantha interviewed D'Angelo about the disappearance of Lash Legends producer Mark, who went missing. D'Angelo told her to forget about it.
Yeah.
How stereotypical.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Ru Fang didn't even get his name announced. Like, literally, like, the ring announcer. Maybe they did it while it was off air. I'm sure they did for the live audience, but they didn't even say it on television. So you just had to read the nameplate for yourself, Ru Fang. And honestly, who comes up with these names, even for the job? Or even, I think at one point, I don't know if it was this match, but Ru Fang is going to pop up again. And I'm pretty sure Vic Joseph is going to highlight that he's an aspiring NXT wrestler. So he's not even good enough to be considered on the roster. So what does it mean to beat Ru Fang in the grand scheme of things? Anyway, whatever. D'Angelo's comments during the match, I'm going to mention that in a couple of his matches. He makes cool. It's stereotypical, I admit, I agree. But it does crack me up, the way, his cadence and the way he speaks. And sometimes it's cool. And after the match, you know, paying everyone off, I like that, and forget about it. Works as a catchphrase. Stereotypical, annoying, yes, all of the above. But you take what you can get with NXT, I guess, at this point.
Well, we get video package poker room where he calls himself the House and says the House always wins. I suppose it's an upgrade from Swinger's Palace. Bringing Jensen's music play, but we find that Jensen is down and out, and Legado crack a chair against Briggs is back on the way to the ring, and Briggs and Jensen versus Legado. The Indian team fought hard for the win, but the damage done beforehand was too much. After Briggs was taken off the apron, Mendoza and Wild hit a running knee, Russian leg sweep combination to win. This was okay. Give Legado their heat back a little bit after losing so often. Yeah,
that was the purpose of it, and it accomplished it. I do have to say, the way Briggs screamed after he screamed out Legado before he got hit in the back with the chair. Oh my goodness, it was so over dramatic, but it cracked me up. It is still cracking me up just thinking about it. I don't know why he decided to say it like that. It was funny how this match was put together. I understand that he got attacked, but Briggs took most of the heat. And then Jensen comes in, and then after 2 minutes of being tagged in as the hot tag, he gets defeated easily. So we know the wink link, I guess, if that even matters at this point. So yeah, this was what it was.
Well, we get a creepy Halloween Havoc vignette featuring a mysterious figure with a shovel. Trick Williams and Kamala Hayes in a locker room, digging through stuff in search of the title. They come across a flyer for an open house Dexter Loomis is having. Then we got Grayson Waller and LA Knight winner host Halloween Havoc. Waller tries to roll up Knight early, and often in a fight, the underdog rocks his opponent with a series of strikes, but Knight responded back with a facebuster for the win. Why was a match?
And look at what they're fighting over. They're fighting over hosting Halloween Havoc. Oh, why can't they just call? I know she's heel, but whatever. Just call Shot back to just host it one night only for every year. Anyway, first and foremost. But anyway, besides that, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you asked why was this even a match, because I wrote this, James. I'm reviewing this for you, James. I could care less who hosts, and honestly, what does that say about this bill? that I could care less about anything that's going on. This match was around 5 minutes, and Knight didn't control it the whole time, but it was still a squash match. So, whatever. Worthless in my opinion, but it happened.
I think that would sum up this monthly update, really.
It happened.
We're going to see it happen. We get Bron Baker and Ciampa veteran event. Ciampa ran over both grids, a clothesline, just to catch him in a slow moment. Yeah, I know. Use it to isolate and wear him down. Ciampa gave Breaker a hard slap of a tag when he was corner. Breaker nearly attacked the champion ducked, allowing Jade to take the heavy offense. No one 10-on-1 with a military press power slam. And the champion and challenger ended the show staring each other down. Making Braun look good by sacrificing a great tag team. Always love it.
Yeah, just beautiful television. I hate the whole. They have a title match next week, so we're gonna team them up this week and see if they can coexist. Like, why? Whose logic is that? Like, what's the point of it? First of all, I hate that, and then it just screams Monday Night Raw booking. That decision in itself just screams typical WWE booking. And I love GYV, and it sucks that they were only here to advance Ciampa and break a story, or like you said, make the young guy look good. And the ring work, of course, wasn't bad with everyone involved. And I like that the fans are barking for Breaker. Nice little nod to his father. So I do enjoy that. But yeah, I don't like GYV getting used like that. And this is a very predictable way for them to try to hype up Halloween Havoc. And, I guess that's what they were the goal. I don't think it accomplished the goal for me. I wasn't extra hyped because I got to see them stare down after teaming up or whatever. It was what it was. But yeah, I'm glad this show is over.
Without a doubt, it wasn't very good at all. But one of the things you mentioned during the episode was MSK getting booed. And obviously being presented as babyface. So I went to investigate why MSK are booed, because there's been a lot of rumours, of course, claiming the boos.
I've heard a lot of different things.
Well, they aren't organic, instead originate from a group of NXT fans. Well, the reports have gone a step further now, with Dave Meltzer basically saying he's got a couple of versions, but the version going around is basically correct. There are people there, including the parents of Izzy. Izzy is the super fan who was with Bailey. And basically, Zachary Wentz, before he was Nash Carter, when he was Independent Wrestlers, others, including Lance Storm and Chelsea Green, made comments that were negative about Izzy taking a chokeslam at an independent show. So he shows up on NXT, and the parents start the crowd to go. They got a lot of friends. Everyone kind of knows them. There's like 200 people there. They're pretty much all invited. And it's the same people every week. So there's a core group that are just booing MSK because he's moaning on social media. Which, don't get me wrong, I met Colt Cabana and he's a twat. But I don't keep going on about it. I kind of get over it. So he's blocked me on Twitter anyway, so fuck him. So, but, it is what it is.
Oh, God. Right. Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. I don't see how you can have such a... And then when it comes to the product, I personally, as a fan, I'm not going to say go to a show and you boo who you're supposed to boo or cheer who you're supposed to boo, but cheer who you're supposed to cheer. But you do what you want. But it's just to go to a show, no matter what they're doing, no matter if they're having a killer match, whatever it is, and just personally boo a team just to make it look like they're not doing their job well, when honestly we have to be real. I'm not gonna act like they had the most interesting characters or the reign was the most fun reign, but their match quality and their title defenses were always top notch. Their work in the ring, I couldn't, like you said, that's the reason why this investigation had to be done, because if you're looking at television, it didn't really make sense. Their matches were cool. They, the promos weren't the most interesting thing, but they were okay, decent enough. That I didn't think they were doing anything that seemed that they should that make it make sense for them to be constantly hated on the way they are. But man, that's very, very interesting though. That it's like a personal thing. I wonder what people backstage feel about that. I hope that it's not affecting the way people higher up look at MSK just because of a personal thing that's going on. And I don't know. And if it continues to persist, they may have to lean into some of that and start inviting some boo. I don't know if they can change their style up enough to work heel, but they may have to go that way if it persists, because if it's something personal, then, it's going to take something that's out of creative's control, if you see what I'm saying, to change it. So, I don't know.
It's interesting, though, to see if anything does develop there. Right, we'll move on October 26th, and of course, Halloween Havoc. And how hyped were we last year for Halloween Havoc? to this one would be night and day. I think would be fair.
This was Halloween.
Well, the show opens with Chucky, you know, the homicidal doll.
Yeah.
Welcome. Why wasn't he the host? He did a lot of fucking hosting. But anyway.
Exactly. Oh my God. Go ahead. ahead.
I'm about to say, he promised us a lot of violence running down tonight's card. Basically hosts.
Exactly.
Well,
this is that late night.
Yeah, well, this is the closest thing we have a 2.0 takeover, and we start off with Indy Hartwell, Persia Pirotta, Stark versus Toxic Attraction, Judy Dolan and JC Jane for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship Scareway to Hell ladder match. We see Pirotta knocking Zoe Stark out of the ring off a ladder. Io tried to sneak past Pirotta but got planted on the turnbuckle. And then Pirotta followed up with a powerbomb on a ladder to Dolan, but James followed with a Hurricane Runner. The Judas of Sky planted with a powerbomb and a moonsault on a ladder. Indy Hartwell took out Stark with a spinebuster on a ladder and then climbed alongside Shy to the very top. Hartwell ducked and knocked the Genius of the Sky off. Jane distracted Hartwell as Dolan climbed up the ladder on the opposite side. Hartwell realised too late as Dolan booted her to the mat and pulled down the gold. And yes, new NXT Tag Team Champions, Toxic Attraction.
Before I go on to the match, I did want to point out that last year you really enjoyed Halloween Havoc set. And this set this year was so bad and so regular to just like basically what it was anyway. You didn't even bring it up this year.
It doesn't even deserve my time.
Yeah, it was just a nice note because usually at these specials or shows that's supposed to be different, you make sure to point out set details and all of that. And it was pointless because this was pretty much the same set. Besides with a couple tombstones and whatever that was towards the entryway, you wouldn't even notice it really. No. That's how bad it was. But anyway, I have to give credit to all of these ladies. Love to all the ladies involved. This was cool. I thought this match was way better than it had any business being. And kudos to Toxic Attraction for some of those back ladder bumps and Io Shirai, of course, specifically that crazy bump off the getting pushed off the ladder outside the ring onto the other ladder. It was sick. And they showed great toughness, and I really thought this is the best. These 2.0 teams, Persia and Indy and Gigi and JC. I thought this was the best that they've gotten a chance to look so far. Probably of course the biggest matches of most of their career at this point, and I think they showed up. And at this point, after that match, that I thought was really good. I thought Gonzalez was in trouble. Honestly, I really did because I kind of know how these things go. Maybe they did this thinking they were going to throw me off, and that means Gonzalez will retain. I felt the opposite after this, but it was still well done, I thought.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I hope Io is fine and Jane changing her hair every week. Pirotta's attire doesn't leave much to the imagination either, but you can tell what she had for breakfast. Zoe's the rookie. You could tell by the 450 landing after a while, but I'm starting to like Dolan took some good bumps. Jane took one good one. Let them show us what we got. I thought this is probably the best opener we've had in 2.0 without a doubt. And then we get a video package of Hayes and Williams rolling up for a spooky looking house, try and reclaim the title. Trick wants to hand back and drive getaway, but Hayes makes them get out and approach the house. They get scared by all manner of as we cut to Johnny and Dexter hanging out with Zombie Ref. Johnny promises he'll home alone the shit out of the house. Hayes and Williams navigate the way to the door before the video cuts out. I mean, they did this well last year, but the jury's out for now.
Yeah, it's nice to see they're still trying to have fun. Not only with the Halloween theme, but just in general with their vignettes, you know what I mean? Because that was a huge staple, especially of the last year or so of the black and gold NXT. But it was suck to see. Oh yeah. I was reading my next note because Waller popped up, and the first thing I noticed was that he lost, and I'm like, I still stuck with him hosting. But man, they hate me. So yeah. Anyway, but that's it. I don't think I had to say about that is that it was nice to see that they're still having fun with those vignettes because they were always cool. So we'll see what happens at this point. But it was nice to see that they're still trying these.
Well, like I say, you just mentioned Grayson Waller. He's dressed as Dracula. He misses his fucking cue at first.
Yeah.
Come on, you bellend. He says LA Knight isn't here, but he's backup host, and he blathers on until Joe Gacy corrupts why Halloween's holiday, and people lead into a match. Joe Gacy versus Manic Blade. Blade attacked Gacy at the bell and had him in, but Harlan arrived while Gacy and down. Distraction allowed Gacy to hit a handspring clothesline for the win. Again, what do you think of this? Gacy and the gimmick, though, they get behind it.
Yeah, they're letting him be as cryptic as possible, and some of the things he say. Obviously, I do like the only element I say is that when he says things or when he smiles, he just looks as untrustworthy as possible, almost. And I do like that element of his character, even though what he's saying, it sounds like whatever. It sounds like whatever it is. Like I can't really describe the character as much, but I can understand why they're going with it. But, it is what it is so far. This match made me ask questions like, we have squash matches with no build on these specials or what? I thought this was supposed to be a special. Then I look back and I was like, oh, well, last year Escobar beat Jake Atlas in like 3 minutes. So I guess it isn't a big deal. But, I didn't know what to think about this. I don't even know what to think about Harlan or even Gacy for that matter. So that is overall what I feel. I don't know exactly what to think about either one of them. But it's interesting enough that I understand why they're trying to go with it.
Well, when I first saw Harland, I thought the new Brock, not the new Rowan, But the sign, of the show, and the guys managed to sneak it in. ECW 2.0 equals NXT 2.0, and I've got to appreciate this way.
They have some similarities, don't they?
They really, really. I was expecting the zombie to come out actually to take part, but. Well,
now that's the one thing that would have been worse than seeing the Kiss Demon.
Without a doubt, yeah. Well, we see Kay Ray vignette where she complains about the lack of respect that NXT has given her. She's the longest reigning champion. I cannot wait for that. Grayson Wallace see Halloween party, the Halloween cosplay, and they seem to get it. Grimes rolls up Jess the National, scares off some girls. All I took from this is Grayson Waller is an idiot. NXT Austin.
That's true. I can't literally stand anything he does, and as a matter of fact, the more episodes he continues to pop on, he almost seemed to get more annoying. So,
negative heat.
yeah. If you want to look it up, kids, X-Pac heat is going to become Waller heat.
Well, we see Diamond Mine on the stage and Bivens cuts a promo. He says for a big show like this, they have a special treat, an open challenge. You challenge anyone who's going to step up. And of course, see Jones. Malcolm tells Jones that his big ass isn't 205 pounds. And after some chatter, what he decides, but he's taking the match. And we see Diamond Mine go up, distract the big man. This up Strong to hit a running high knee for the victory. Why Strong? Why?
We don't see the Cruiserweight champion fighting a guy John's size often. So, I was interested at first to watch how Strong could work with him and how the big fella was going to work, vice versa, of course. But, man, it was over in 5 minutes again. And I'm just like, tell me how is this segment any different from anything we see on NXT TV? Like, why is this on Halloween Havoc? Why is this here? This is nothing different from what we see anyway. It was just, I don't know. Yeah, it was a throwaway. I think it was a filler. It felt like filler. That's exactly what it ended up being. It was just something to pass the time.
Without a doubt. There's a lot of Nexus t-shirts behind Wade, which kind of made me think we were going to have a Nexus reunion being released as well. Imperium
long gone,
yeah. Imperium talk about how tonight is their night. I really like the subtitle. I think that's a good thing if we're going to do it. Unfortunately, Mackenzie doesn't speak German, so she didn't have a clue what was said.
She looked confused. She was doing her best, like she put a smile up to make it seem like she understood regardless. Yeah. No, Mackenzie had no clue.
They could have said anything. We see Mandy Rose making her entrance, dressed like a woman of the night, and not in fancy dress as well. To the Halloween party, Tony D'Angelo and Lash Legend are chatting, and Lash relents and agrees to have him on a show next week. Von Wagner is dressed as Brad Pitt. How funny is that? Duke Hudson chats about Cameron Grimes. He said we'll see him in the poker room. Robert Stone, dressed as Elvis, gets into it with his own Quinn, who is Freddie Mercury, and they chokeslam through the table. Stone doing Elvis, the only funny for this.
Yeah.
And how was he not?
Like, how is his fault and not? They're not calling him, and I don't understand why necessarily. I don't get it, but I don't know. Maybe he's cheap.
Yeah, exactly. He's the new Drake Maverick or something. He's got 2 years. We see Ciampa working out backstage. Gonzalez comes out on a motorcycle and spun the wheel. She's got Chucky's Choice, and they decide to make it a trick or street fight. I'm sick of trick and fucking street fights on SmackDown, on AEW, on fucking NXT.
Everywhere.
Like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
But the NXT title was on the line. God's Creation pulled out a kendo stick early.
And I was like, why would Chucky sadistic ass choose that?
That's what I'm saying. There's a Buried Alive match. I was like, that would be a good
right.
We see Rose sending Gonzalez Hardest steel steps. The NXT Women's Champion responded by bashing chairs corner. She speared Rose through a corner table for a near fall. As Gonzalez prepared to finish it, she was smacked in the back by a shovel with a mysterious figure. This set her up to stumble into the bicycle knee that gave Rose the biggest win of her career. Yes, I cannot believe I'm going to now. I never thought I ever would. Mandy Rose is the new NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah, how you love that?
But on a bit of good news, well, the good news doesn't outweigh the bad, I suppose. The mysterious figure was revealed to be Dakota Kai. Kai return is good, but Oscar rolling her NXT grave is bad. What were your thoughts?
Just add her name to the pages, the Charlottes, the Sashas, the Baileys, the Oscars, Ember. She's up there now. Mandy's name is right next to him. Can you believe it? No. Anyway, most of this match seemed like Mandy was really happy to finally get to use a kendo stick. Like she was very, very ready. She enjoyed every second of using the kendo stick. The Jason match spot, was corny to me, but I guess whatever. The fans though really was eating this match up, and that's something to say. That at the end of the day, sometimes when you're not feeling it at home and you listen to the fans, whether it's a little bit of crowd direction or whatever that may be going on, that's a plus for a match when the fans are really into it, and they were chanting the whole time, and they really must have loved this build that I could have cared less about. But this match still had its moment. I really didn't like finishes. It kind of reminded me of the finish that I kind of didn't like when Priest lost his championship at Halloween Havoc last year. But like you said, the big reveal being Dakota Kai kind of smoothed that over. And I'm not shocked with the direction of NXT 2.0. Mandy winning the title was almost predictable here, especially with the way WWE's been booked, especially with Dolan and James Victor, because they love making factions that look more legit than they actually are by making them all champions. It used to be something that felt kind of exclusive, but not so much these days. And I believe they thought that, like I said, the tag victory would throw us off to Mandy winning, but I just had a feeling that no matter what, Mandy Rose was going to leave as champion. And because I think Gonzalez, even though she's still in NXT going forward, I think we can all see her getting called up out of nowhere sooner than later. And I think Mandy is who they want to build this new 2.0. They want people to chase Mandy Rose. And I know that's crazy. When you think about a few years ago, you can imagine us saying that they're ready to build a division around Mandy and her faction. It's kind of crazy, right? But that's where they're going. So we'll just have to wait this out. You don't sound too happy.
I know. It's like when JBL was WWE champion. But it was an enjoyable match. It was an enjoyable match. I never thought I would have said that. And then we see Hayes and Williams with a house. bombarded with horrific scenes. They run into Andre Chase, talk about horrific. Gargano and Loomis get up from their post and walk off. Carmelo and Trick get celebrated for a minute and end up in a room with some kind of goblin before finding the NXT North American Championship. Because we know the difference between a pixie and a fairy. It's a really old joke.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if he's underneath, if the trousers are off, he's a goblin. So it's very, very easy. But Hayes remembered. Carmelo scoffs and yanks the title from its perch. Dramatic music plays and Gargano and Loomis appear behind them and attack. Trick and Mello get away but run into a bunch of zombies and drop the belt. Johnny scares them as they run off with the title. Also, what were your thoughts on this one? I thought maybe not as good as previous.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I thought some of the one-liners and some of the back and forth between Trick and Mello were good. I thought it was a good insight into their characters. I think Trick, when he gets a chance to talk and be who he is personality-wise, I think that's where he's shined so far. And I think they know that, so that's how they use him. And I think Hayes plays well off of him. But no, I don't think it didn't have anything on what they pulled off last year. I don't even think it's fair to compare this, even though I think it's just natural to do it. Loomis and Grimes knocked theirs completely out of the park in so many ways. It was funny, it was entertaining, and it wasn't necessarily the most scary thing, but it was like so insane that it was just it was hard to not focus on just how entertaining it was consistently. And this one, I didn't think it was that way. I thought it was different. I liked it at times, but it doesn't compare at all with some of the stuff they've already done. And but like I said, I do like them still having fun and still trying some of this stuff, even though this one didn't really hit it out the park like some of the other stuff they've done.
No, we get Grayson Wallace in the ring to host the show, even though Chucky's been doing it for an hour. And LA Knight finally shows up in the same costume. Wallace said it's not his fault he had car problems. And LA asks him who told him he had car trouble. Grayson starts saying about Chucky. But enter Solo Sikoa. He gets in the ring and belly-to-belly suplex Waller out of it. And for a debut, not too bad. I hope to see a bit more. And then we see Bron Baker working out backstage and momentarily started by Chucky hanging out, but rolls with it, keeps his workout going. And then the NXT Tag Team Championship on the line, Imperium, Eichner and Barthel versus Carter and Wesley. DJ Tommy Carlucci gave MSK a special entrance for their tag team match. Alex, the NXT fan of the night, spun the wheel to set up a Lumberjack-O-Lantern match, and Lumberjacks capped the action in the ring. MSK dived and Eichner and Barthel outside as the action wore on. Imperium took back over and Eichner hit both Wesley and Nash Carter with standing rolling fireman's carry. I thought he was going to shit himself from straining. At that point, he had both of them. I thought we're going to get a massive accident, just shit all over the ring. But luckily he didn't. Lee dived in the crowd, which led all the Lumberjacks out of the arena. Nobody caught Nash. And the four teams took tall in the ring, and Eichner took out Carter and hit a brainbuster on Lee. That set up the Imperium Bomb for the victory. Yes, your new NXT Tag Team Champion, Imperium. There was a lot going on, but what were your...
Yeah, this match was chaos. I wrote that down. The work in the ring by both teams, of course, was strong. I expect it from both teams. I thought this was a great reward for Imperium for all their obvious hard work that they've been doing. And by this point, I was sick of the spin the wheel treatment. You know what I mean? Especially in this match, since the Lumberjack stipulation pretty much just went out the window after the dive. So the Lumberjacks was really just there to catch him. And then, like you mentioned earlier, they didn't even do that. They didn't even catch both guys. They caught one of them. And I like I said, at that point, the gimmick was just had completely turned me off to what was going on. But like I said, the match was really, really cool. And I was genuinely surprised that Imperium won. But at the end of the day, I think we all were kind of ready for a change when it came at the top of the tag division because they had literally beat everyone, including Imperium. So it was time for a shakeup. It was time for them to fall off and possibly, get involved with something else. And I don't know what their future looks like. I do think they'll probably end up back at the titles, or you never know, main roster. at some point before you know it. But I think as a team, they definitely needed something new.
Yeah, we talk about a lot going on at ringside. Kushida and Jiro dressed as amateur wrestlers nearly took my attention off the whole match, actually. And Zach Gibson with a wig. But MSK was good. Like I said, a bit surprised. Quality tag team wrestling, though. The closing sequence was great. The ref should have counted out both teams. But I honestly can't remember the last time 3 title changes on a takeover, let alone NXT special. So it's real changing of the guard feel on this show, you know?
Yeah, and at this point, you can't help but wonder, okay, well, wow, are they going to actually, crown a new world champion by the end? You didn't know. It was at that point. But, yeah, usually it's not like that. Maybe you get one early and then one at the end, or, a whole show with none, or a show with one in the middle of it. It's not really like that where you just have every title changing hands like this. So it definitely gave this show a big show feel.
Without a doubt. Well, Chucky hypes up the main event when we get the video package and Bron Breakker versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. Ciampa showed off his game plan as he quickly pounced on the rookie, wearing down the bigger man with technical offense. Breakker fought back with power move, but Blackheart would not let up, even sending a spinebuster in outside for it. The bigger man went to the second rope, fell hard on the turnbuckle and went back to the attack. Blackheart hit the Willow's Bell for barely 2 on Breakker. On the back foot for the first time in his career, he answered with a Frankenstein and a double underhook powerbomb for a near fall. 2 foot outside where the champion hit Breakker with DDT on exposed concrete. Wouldn't beat John Cena. And then the Blackheart hit the fairy tale ending, was certain he would win, but the challenger kicked out. Ciampa then hit 3 running knees on the fairy tale ending finish. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I really thought this match was cool. I thought Ciampa's Kratos entrance gear, man, the paint and all that, so awesome. I really liked that. The botch that resembled Brecker's uncle's botch from many, many years ago may have been what went viral. I know I saw that a lot on the timeline, but the match overall was really good. And it wasn't necessarily a wrestling clinic, in my opinion, or anything, kind of like what we're used to in this spot at a takeover or at a special, but it was legit entertaining, and it made Brecker look strong as hell in defeat, towards the end there, like you said, having to take another fairy tale ending and, knees on top of that after being he got DDT right on his head on concrete right before that. So, for him to kick out of the first fairy tale ending and then, have to take a little bit more, they were obviously putting him over to make him look very, very strong. Say that, yeah, he's really, really good, but he's not quite there yet. And I think that was the goal of this match overall. I thought, and if the goal of this match was to make Breakker look like he deserved this, or he's definitely almost there or on his way to being world champion material, I think the goal was accomplished then, because he ended up coming out of this looking like a legit threat.
Yeah, without doubt. He showed toughness and suffered the hard way. The rookie versus veteran story is really well done. An overall best 2.0 show that we've had. We move on to the 2nd November. The show opened with Mandy Rose making mention as champion. She celebrated a victory on the JC Jane. The other member of Toxic Attraction were backstage, laying out Zoe Stark, which set off Io Shirai. The Genesis Skyway walked out to challenge Rose. The champion attacked Shirai, targeting injured back. For a ladder match, of course, as Rose gloated, Shirai suplexed her in the corner and set up a moonsault. Donna and Jane arrived to save the champ. They beat her down until Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter evened the odds, sitting in the hills running. Rose found Dakota Kai backstage. Who started? She was only focused on ending Raquel Gonzalez. Io should not, in a million fucking years, be a punching bag for Mandy Rose. I don't know what.
Yeah, I kind of knew you wouldn't like this. I understand completely where you're coming from, but honestly, I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, when she won the championship, I'm like, where else would they go other than Io? Like, who else as a babyface was built up enough to be in that position to possibly challenge Mandy Rose for the title? And I understand exactly where you're coming from, but don't be shocked. I hate to break this to you, but don't be shocked if Mandy Rose ended up pinning Io Shirai before at some point during this reign because like
No,
it just
don't
seemed like
say it.
that's the direction that we're going. I hate to tell you that, but she may end up pinning Io Shirai sooner than later, and it's gonna suck. It's gonna be one of those things, but I just wouldn't be surprised. This is just how they like to book these types of stories and the way they book these angles, and especially in WWE, they don't usually adjust the way they probably should all the time. And I think this is a good example of it. But at the end of the day, it's a new reign, so they're just gonna try to keep pushing contenders out there.
Yeah, like I said, we have to bite the bullet with this. We got Duke's poker room featuring Cameron Grimes. The buy is $500 now. We then get Cora, Jade versus Kai, and Kai showed no remorse in a vicious attack on Jade. We see the usual surprise roll up, but Kai refused to even let her shoulders stay down. She entered the match with a KO kick. She dragged Jade outside and into position. She placed on a table on her, decided against dealing more damage. She did leave Jade's skateboard on top of her. This was...
Yeah, and I loved the new unhinged version of Dakota Kai. That look in her eyes from the beginning of the segment, it was just different. And I think it matched that aggression that she showed at times versus Cora. And, and I want to see where it's heading, with the character. And, and I think the match served its purpose also, with the little extracurricular activity, even though, it was cryptic. I think it was cryptic in a way that would interest people to see what she's going to do next or what was her reasoning, going forward. What is her new purpose now that she's back? And I think this is a good way to introduce a newer edge to Dakota Kai's character.
Yeah, I think we've had that. We've got hype real social media reactions to Von Wagner, bollocks, and then MSK get a vignette where they talk about the man behind the curtain for MSK, but don't get to hear the actual story because the bus rolls. Turns out it was their bus and they missed it. And then Robert Stone called out on Quinn after sending the manager through a table. And Stone sang Frankie Monet's theme, challenging Quinn to a match. Quinn sang Shawn Michaels' theme until Stone slapped in. Quinn did not waste any time after that, hitting a swinging Samoan drop into a jackhammer for a quick win. Electra Lopez expressed her admiration for Quinn's shoulder side when he was backstage. This was just destruction, but Stone did get some height, low credit to him.
Yeah, he did. He sold. But the horrible dancing. Oh my goodness. I'm not talking about this match as a match, because it really wasn't. Or the segment overall was entertaining because neither of them can dance or really sing, and NXT made them decided to make them do it anyway. So I guess if the point was to make me chuckle, it did that. But yeah, other than that, it was nothing else there other than seeing Stone get, destroyed again for the billionth time.
Well, we see Gacy talk about his partnership with Harlan. O'Reilly, Von Wagner versus Legado del Fantasma. Wagner escaped the heel corner and tagged on O'Reilly. Electra Lopez distracted Kyle O'Reilly until Mendoza hit him with a chop block. Wagner tried to make the save. Miscommunication between Wagner and O'Reilly. And Wagner got stacked up for 3 by Wild, who's put his foot on the ropes. I mean, good to see Legado win, but what the fuck happened with O'Reilly? Like, seriously, what the fuck?
Talk about irrelevant.
Jesus.
Beat Adam Cole on his way out, and now just who cares what he's doing. It was a good tag match. Like you said, Legado again. It's like it's just great to see them win, and they're getting over and over. If you listen to the crowd, if you listen to what the fans are saying, they love them. They have been a bright spot since before the 2.0 days. So this match was cool, and I like the more experienced team getting the win over the new team. So
we see Hayes and Williams promised to beat Gargano and Loomis. Andre Chase told the two he would have their back in a tag match. Mackenzie Mitchell told Chase that some people called him a coward last week. And angry Chase called out Jim. Bron Breakker accepted that shot. First got the big man moving early and wore him down. However, Breakker responded with shoulder blocks and hit him immediately. She pressed pound slam for the win. After Breakker took the microphone and admitted that Tommaso Ciampa was the man. However, he promised he would beat the NXT champion or die trying. Again, same old, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't lie. I like. I must admit, I can see a teachable moment stuff getting over, if given the chance, and if it's done right. Just from what I've seen before, I like the delivery. I love how quick and how quick he is to fly off the handle, especially as a teacher. It's weird to watch him wrestle and do things in that gear, but so far, it doesn't matter what I think about Andre Chase because he's pretty much every time he's out there is gonna get squashed. And as soon as Breaker's siren hit, I knew that was. And I'll excuse it because I think both guys are entertaining, but the trend of squash matches on NXT 2.0, like they happened back in the day. I know they did, but it just never seemed to happen as often as they do now.
Well, Imperium promised to dominate the NXT tag division. G.U. Dolan and JC Jane told them to win tag match. Clearly.
When did everyone get so horny in NXT? That's another thing I'm gonna highlight. But let's go. Let's keep going.
No, it's true. Though. It's true. Clearly favourite Barthel Knight now. Barthel saying America has his benefit. We then get a lashing out with Lash Legend. Talks about how legendary Halloween Havoc got Mark the producer, real live, but also his arms in a sling. Tony interview, he says he's there to make as much money as he can and slap some dudes around. Calls out Dexter Loomis, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa and Pete Dunne. That would be a mistake. He wants to wrap it up because he's got a call with Vito. Instead, tips her a build to get herself something nice as he makes his entrance. Sheesh. I keep going like, hey, oh, no. Like,
what he does outside of the ring, D'Angelo, can be entertaining. I didn't mind him. I don't mind the whole producer thing. I didn't think they were going to this much detail into his mafia lifestyle. I didn't think he was going to be bringing old school stereotypical mafia tactics to work, but there you go. It's entertaining, and that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know if he has a bright future or not, but I can see the comedy aspect of it, I guess.
Well, we get Jeet Rama versus Solo Sikoa, and we see Solo sending Jeet Rama to hit a hip attack or side kick, left him laying. He finished his opponents off with a waving splash, a debut, and a strong statement. But I was going to say to you, WWE signing talent just to fuck with, commentary. You can't mention Rick Steiner, all the Usos. I mean, what's next? Debuting Howie Smith again, and
after his family left him. Oh my! I couldn't stop laughing to myself when Vic Joseph said after his family left him. Come on, man. Come on. All right. Anyway, Sifa, really? They left him? All right. Anyway. Back to the original Squickity Squash match format, though, for this match. I was familiar with Sifa Fatu before he was, solo, and I expect big things from him. He is just as much of a natural as the rest of his family, no matter how much NXT wants to act like he isn't a part of the family, even though they have the same face at this point, pretty much. Body, I mean, everything else is obvious, but they literally have the same face, pretty much. But anyway, that's besides the fact. I can see a future Breaker and Solo feud down the line that can possibly be special if done right, and if they're both given time to grow properly. So we'll see what happens, and because I can't ever give a good prediction when it comes to NXT ever again because we don't know who's going to be there in the next 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. We cannot more. We get a T and Shah vignette and LA Knight joins the commentary booth. We get a Briggs and Jensen vignette where they're hanging out and grilling and playing horseshoes and other stuff. Boa versus Grayson Waller. We see Waller reeling early. However, the former boxer turned it around with a series of strikes. And the $1 Million Megastar distracted Waller and allowed Boa to connect with a roundhouse kick for the victory. I mean, LA Knight, you poor bugger, haven't you,
Right? Poor LA Knight. Only thing I wrote down was that it was a board match that lasted more than a minute, and he won. Are we in NXT 2.0 Twilight Zone? So, well, yeah, that's it.
Well, once Riddle gets caught with the Mary Jane and suspended, I guess Waller can fill the moron on Raw role as well. But they killed the momentum of Knight and Grimes. And speaking of Grimes, he made a killing beating Duke at his own game, poker. Then Caleb make an impact next week. Boa found an empty throne where he returns, bowing down for he's bestowed new makeup and blowed the camera. Ciampa told the NXT Universe he broke the narrative at Halloween Havoc by retaining. Hayes interrupted to call himself the A champion. Trick got in the Blackface's face, Blackheart's face, and got
Black
a punch
faces.
in the mouth. Blackface's heart. Yeah, the NXT champion walked away for a moment, ready for challenges, and Gargano walked out to stare in the eyes of Ciampa before the main event. If NXT anything, one last time could just come in. But Ciampa still gives 100% every time.
I agree, and I love the tease. I love the callback because they know they can always. It reminded me that I think sometimes you kind of forget it because of all the new faces and because they've kept certain people away from each other. But they're like, oh, we can always go back to this, and we know you'll want to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can always go back to this great feud. We know because we know what they can do. The history speaks for itself. They don't even have to say a word. They can just be together, and it just makes you want to see them go at it or even team up because whatever they do, they make it work. And I love that whole segment overall. I like Melo's confidence. I love how Ciampa called him out on that confidence and like, oh, you don't mean nothing you say. I love that reply from the veteran. And I also loved not only Gargano coming out, but they highlighted on social media, but it really was a strong, just one little cue, just literally gripping your belt differently when you realize it's Gargano coming out and, holding on to it back like that, like he holds it as his baby, like clutching it with both hands when Gargano comes out was just such a nice little creative touch to let you know that, yeah, Gargano still does that to him, still is a threat, still gets to him like that. It was so beautiful, even though it was just a little subtle thing done there.
And that's all we want. That's all we want from NXT. Little things like this, being built upon and being called back from as well. And then the main event, Hayes and Williams versus Loomis and Gargano. Trick found opportunities. Cheap shot Johnny, setting up Hayes for a springboard clothesline to take over. Gargano managed to get back in low, hit side-by-side super kicks. Loomis hit Trick with a elbow for a near fall. Gargano Hayes traded forearms for Loomis planted Mello with a silence. Trick hit Loomis with his shoe though, setting up the NXT North American champion for a diving axe kick for the victory. I think the last quarter of this show was telling us that NXT 2.0's future is Carmelo Hayes.
I agree 100%, and I can just tell that they see something in this guy, and I see it, and I think we all can see that he is by far the most interesting, he's the most ready right now out of everyone that they put on display all the time. And I think that's why he's a champion, and that's why he's in this spot. I also love the whoop that Trick chants for Trick, and just for the team. It fits, and I think they should probably take notice to it. It's a nice little reference. It's kind of funny to me that when 3-6 Mafia, the rappers who came up with that and won their Academy Award from it, I know it's funny to see. Or to think about something that they just made up for a movie is being regurgitated and down in Florida for a wrestling show. It's crazy. But anyway, it was a small thing, but I enjoyed that. This is a really fun main event, and Hayes has been impressive since his debut. Trick works well with him, and I think they're cool together. I thought Gargano and Dexter's teamwork was interesting and great to see. The fans dug this match, and Trick using the shoe, hitting somebody with a shoe. Come on, that's not often the thing that's used. So I just really liked it that he hit him in the back of the head with a shoe. Like, screw it, just grab the first thing you can grab and swing. It's just hilarious to me. And Hayes getting the win, like you said, sends that message that he is the future, and this built to a Gargano and Hayes possible encounter for the title down the line, which I think we all wouldn't mind seeing. So this is the favorite match of the night and well deserving of the main event.
Yeah, I mean, Trick using it shows that he's quite a good heel. But this is awesome chants have lost all meaning.
Oh my goodness. NXT are the worst with that. They are the worst. They're also the worst with chanting both guys' names. They're the worst with somebody, one part of the crowd wanting one person and one part of the crowd wanting another person. No matter the consequences, no matter if it makes sense. Like, if it makes sense, I can understand blended crowd reaction. But at this point, as I was watching these episodes, it felt like they just wanted to be contrarian. It didn't matter who won. They just wanted to argue with each other in the crowd with their chants. I don't understand what's going on with the NXT universe or whatever it is. Maybe it's because it's not. I don't think they're in Full Sail anymore. Maybe it's because of that. I don't know, but yeah, the crowd really can be aggravating.
Well, we'll move on to injury news, and Zoe Stark gave an day, and she's tore her ACL and meniscus, but has had successful surgery rehabbing.
Now, what did they do to her?
I know.
Oh, one of those major knee injuries.
Oh my God! She said she'll be back better and stronger with targets mind. So we move on to November 9th. Show opens with Toxic Attraction making their entrance. Shy, Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter versus Toxic Attraction. The Genius Sky hit the over the moonsault on Rolls and nearly got the 3, but Dolan and JC broke it up. Tag ran over Toxic Attraction. The Sky headed to the top. Action ensued outside that distracted her long enough for Dolan to pull her down and hit an abdominal stretch powerbomb. And of course, the abdominal stretch made famous by Wilbur Schneider back in the 1930s. And I don't know if he'd be happy with Gigi Dolan using that as a finisher nowadays. But
oh God, he would probably flip his shit.
The
what
thing
are you
is,
doing?
It's like, what the hell? That's not how we wrestle. The thing is, though, I just want away from this on the main roster. So even if they do go fuck it and release her, we can have her on AEW and Impact within 6 months.
Oh my God, I understand. I really do. But you know that she is the saving grace of all of this. They cannot take her away from this because she's the only one that anybody give a damn about from a major aspect. But it is what it is. I see what you're saying. I do want to thank NXT for having this match a week after the promo, that segment that set it up, instead of doing it on the same show. Yeah. Like WWE loves to do. Io Shirai not dancing to the rave music. I love that. That is me. I promise. That's me. Anytime dance music like that is on. The match was actually entertaining, at times. So I have to give them props. It was entertaining. And I thought the champs looked good, overall, while also making the challengers still look like threats. Even though whenever Io can't finish a match with the moonsault, man, the team that she on not winning.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
One of the other reasons I watched NXT, Pete Dunne is interviewed backstage. He said if Tony D'Angelo wants to make a name for himself, he knows where to find him. He can come chat face to face with the baddest man in NXT. Hayes and Williams roll up, and Hayes tells him he can kiss his ass. Pete says he'll break his fingers tonight. Good to see Pete back. Back to the arena, Kaylee Ray walks past Toxic Attraction, and then we get Kaylee Ray versus Saraya led into the match. She was confident of Saraya, however, they walked back, but with a super kick, Saraya set up Ray for a low ropes drop kick, but Kaylee Ray ducked away. She hit the Kaylee Ray bomb on the end table, and then a second one in the ring, win.
Decisive.
Very, very decisive. Will Saraya be the next round of cuts?
Man, it would suck because I don't think she ever really she's really even getting a fair shot right now. I did wonder what the hell made Toxic Attraction stand there just through the entire Hayes freaking Dunn promo, just to wait on KLR so she can stare at Mandy. I guess logically it makes no sense. I hate when they do that segment flip like that, and they actually made them wait through a whole nother segment. That's the only thing I didn't understand. But anyway, based on the way Kaylee Ray was breaking stuff in the vignettes, I immediately felt bad for Sarai. So you mentioning her in them releases, I just knew that if that's what she was, that's who Kaylee Ray was fighting, that they were in trouble. And this was competitive squash in a way. It was a squickety squash also, but it was kind of competitive because every now and then Sarai got something in, even though there was no way that KLR was losing. And she still looked dominant. And, so I didn't think Sarai looked like too much. I didn't think Sarai looked like a joke after this match. But I definitely understand what you're saying because they obviously either don't know where they want to go with Sarai's character or she's just been lost in the shuffle immediately. Already, I think the only thing notable they've even allowed her to say is the fact that she will drop kick the shit out of you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's what we've really seen. To be fair, when we get Joe Gacy interviewed backstage, he said every single one of us go through changes and hides our true feelings behind a mask, and his heart goes out to Boa. No one should have to hide and be uncomfortable with his own skin. He hopes to reach out and touch his hand wherever it is. We get a Bron Breakker package. Come back to the States as arse. And then we get Boa versus Joe Gacy. Of course, Boa wearing a new paint. Gacy goaded him to trip up the Charlie's Superstar and wore him down. Boa fought back with sidekicks, praying for the winner's lights went low. Boa snapped, choking out Gacy until he got disqualified. I mean, the woke boss man does look a bit like Kevin Owens. I mean, do you think that's why they're not worried about Owens' contract? I mean, and this was intentionally bad, like WCW in 1995.
I heard a boy chant for the first time ever, so I felt like we were still in 2.0 Twilight Zone, first and foremost. And I don't know what the hell is going on with his character. I have no explanation for this match's finish. I really don't. It was weird, and that's all I can say about it when it comes to that. That's all I can say.
Like I said, the next two episodes, especially the last episode, we're going to try and do this as quick as possible because it's not. I know I'm trying to get your reaction. I appreciate it. But, Diamond Mine get a promo where we watch Jacket Ty's promo from last week and Malcolm Rhythms gives the Creed brothers a pep talk. Solo Sikoa's interview, Grayson Waller and they roll up and bicker. And then we get Creed Brothers versus Jacket Time, becoming Jiro and Kushida. Jiro gets going off a hot tag and hit a series of jacket punches that left the collegiate athletes reeling. Diamond Mine had to get involved to save Julius, and Brutus Strong took out Jiro and then rolled him back in position for a powerbomb to take the loss. Afterwards, Jones struck, throwing around Strong and the brothers running. I, of course, after all that we've talked about, do indeed love Jacket Time.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad we agree. That's the worst thing I wrote. I really like Jacket Time. I like the name. The music is perfect. Them together as a team, I think it works. The only thing that bothers me is that, like you mentioned before, all the way up to June and July, even though they've dropped the ball with Kushida way before they even formed this team, so I can't blame the team for why. But it is worrisome that Kushida will not get a chance to show what we know he can do on his own because of how good he is. But he wasn't really getting a chance when he's just sitting around backstage doing nothing anyway. So overall, I think this is a good job, or a good thing to team them up. You can get Ikemen over more. You can have Ikemen also take more of the bumps, as you can see so far with their work. Ikemen is going to take most of the damage, probably end up getting pinned anyway. But Kushida gets to, come in with the hot tag and look strong for the most part. So I like that combo together. And the match was good, and I thought everybody looked good. I thought even Euro got chances to show what he could do. And the Creed Bros looked like dicks for taking his jacket off, man. You don't take off his jacket. Come on, man.
That's not cool, man. I didn't mind it, even though Kushida did lose again. Toxic Attraction interviewed as they leave the arena, and they claim they're going to hold the titles for a very long time. Mandy Rose calls Kaylee Ray out and says her stare down wasn't intimidating. If she's next in line, she'll take her number. Gonzalez interrupts, though, rolling up on a motorbike, telling them to keep her title warm for her. She drives to the arena because she's only one thing on her mind, Dakota Kai. She tells her to get her ass down here, and here comes Kai laughing. Said it felt good to hit her with that shovel, and watching her lie there motionless, and suddenly Cora Jade runs in and attacks Kai mid-promo, leading referees to swarm and pull them apart. Raquel rolls up, the babyface is keeping uneasy peace. It's not about you, Jade. I want Kai and Gonzalez.
Right, all she did was lay your skateboard on top of you. Cora, calm down.
Fucking hell. We get a Chase University vignette where RJ talks about mental toughness and his students. It focuses on Gabriel, who appears to be former Ring of Honor, Dragon Gate, USA, and Evolve Booker Gabe Skolsky, although we never got a clear view of his face. And we get a Grizzled Young Vets vignette for them. They do some urban training, which consists of them scanning folks on the street for food and money to learn how to be better, because that's what all people from Liverpool do. We are thieves.
I was trying to figure out what is the motivation for this. When did the Grizzly Young Vets just become scammers out of nowhere? Like, this felt so random to me. And I was like, then I also was like, hold on. First of all, they ate hot wings dressed like that? Really? That's another thing. They ordered hot wings and they dressed in these nice dapper suits, and you expect me to believe they sat there and ate all those wings dressed like that? You don't take a chance with clothes like that. Anyway, that's random. This is pointless. This is very, very pointless. As random as that was of them becoming scammers, that was my rant on their outfits and eating wings. But anyway, I'll leave it alone.
Well, your favourite NXT wrestler, Ru Feng, is in action next
against
Cameron Grimes. Duke Hudson watched closely as Cameron Grimes dominated Ru Feng away with a cave. And Grimes said he played Hudson, and Hudson challenged him down next. Grimes, like we said, is losing momentum. Grayson Waller, LA Knight, and Solo Sikoa. And Waller and Knight kept bickering, and Sikoa punched both in the match. Fair play. He dominated both as well. Hit the Samoan drop and Knight as he drop kicked Waller. Waller rolled into a cut, but got suplexed out of the ring, and Solo finished the match off with a diving splash to Knight. And Solo looks to be ready already. Is there any point with him being in NXT?
Yeah, I don't even understand it, really. I thought that anyway, and I think some people may need to brush up on him, but I don't think he's one of them. I think, like I said, he's natural. He's really, really good. He probably is ready right now. And I do see a trend, though, in the way they're booking him. Because this is the second time in a row now in 2.0 that they have allowed LA Knight to put over a young guy with wrestling blood in his family. I mean, wrestling in his blood. So, yeah. Sikoa is obviously a chosen one, and I don't think he'll be in NXT long.
No doubt about it, unless he gets fucking released. But who knows until the next update, like we say. Well, yeah. We get Hartwell and Persia Pirotta interview backstage, talk about how close they were to winning the titles. Tony D'Angelo pulls up. He says hoping to run a Dexter Loomis, and he tells Indy she's going to be back on the market after he wrestles her husband next week, and gives her a dead fish with Dexter's name on. Lovely. Legado del Fantasma walking backstage, and Alexa Lopez tells Leon Quinn she hopes he's watching. We see Tommaso Ciampa vignette about the UK tour. Of course, about the match with Bron Breakker they talked about earlier, and then Gang versus Electra Lopez. She put her opponent down with a powerbomb. Afterwards, Madalena asked Quinn to come out, and he answers. She offered him to join the guard, Odell Fantasma. Though he was interested in Lopez, he refused the offer, and Wild and Mendoza tried to take him out, but of course, out. So what was the point of them winning tag matches the past couple of weeks? Quinn and Lopez shared a moment in the ring, and she let him walk away. You wait till Santos find out.
Keep in mind, like you said, I want to keep this in mind for when we have to cover what happens next in this story. Keep in mind that he had no problem with dating Electra Lopez. Just keep that part in mind. But anyway, I mean, Erica Young got the Ru Feng treatment, no name announcement. And I just couldn't believe that Electra's angle is basically, oh man, I think Zion Quinn is handsome. Like, again, when did they all get so
They're
horny?
like rabbits. They are like rabbits in NXT.
What's going on with these young guys? Like,
God, it's like if they're not fighting, they're fucking. You just Regal go in and go, for fuck's sake, put your clothes on. You got a match later. Loomis, leave fucking Indy alone. Come on, Jesus Christ.
Like between Grimes was looking for a woman. Waller wouldn't leave Cora Jade alone. I mean, before Baxter they fired him.
They had to release him.
He was finding love their work.
They had to get rid of him. But look, no,
he was doing
too much fucking. Just go.
Too much fucking out of the wrestling. They had to fire that man. So,
Jesus Christ.
Like, what the hell is going on in Florida?
It's like back in the day, it's World Wrestling Federation, not worldwide fucking. So stop it. Anyway, the news we have been dreading, Monty. NXT War Games. War Games is December 5th. We'll have to discuss how we deal with this. It's coming up.
Y'all, I don't know if you're a fan of Slipknot Duality, but look it up. I'm pushing my fingers into my eye. Wow.
Back from commercial, Kyle O'Reilly is interviewed. He says the official made a mistake last week counting the pin with Von Wagner's foot on the ropes, but that's okay because they make mistakes all the time. They got eyes set on the tag titles, and speaking of Imperium roll up, and Wagner, who just pops up, says the tag champs that they won't give them a match on their best day. And then the main event, Carmelo Hayes versus Pete Dunne, and Loomis arrived for the commentary table, terrifying trick. Meta Manager versus a bitter end into a cut fall. He drove Dunn into the mat with a Gargano escape, but could not get a firm grip. Trick tried to save the champion, got stomped. Loomis then laid out Williams. A hand grabbed the boot of Mello, revealed to be Johnny Gargano, and allowed the bruiserweight to hit the bitter end to win. Thank fuck Pete Dunne won. I've enjoyed every single Pete Dunne match the last 8 to 10 done. But Mello is showing that, and I think one of the positives, and yes, we still got another episode, it's terrible. But if there's one thing from this update, which we can tell when it shines out a little, it's the way Carmelo Hayes. Yeah, he is the shining light.
Yes, we hyped up Isaiah Swear Scott as a star and he's gone. So don't listen to this in the future and be like, oh man, they missed again, they were wrong. No, as of right now, he is obviously one of the biggest bright spots on NXT 2.0, and this was another really, really fun match with Pete Dunne. Like you said, Pete Dunne is a natural. He's awesome at this. And even before Mello won the breakout tournament, I just thought Hayes fit perfectly in NXT. And he's fitting even better now in the main event, or just as in this focused, more important role on the show. He's hitting it out of the park right now. This match gave me old NXT vibes. I have to be honest with you. Like the way they went at it, and it was just back and forth for a long time. And Dunn was able to do a lot of what he's strong at, a lot of that physicality, a lot of that joint manipulation. And Mello was allowed to show his athleticism and his ability, and they played off each other perfectly, in my opinion. I thought both guys put a lot of talent on display in this match, and it was just fun to watch. And I was shocked Hayes lost because he's the champion, but but since Gargano was there, I'm not mad that he lost. Pete Dunne needs all the wins he can get, and I wouldn't be mad at that at a future title shot. That seemed to be that they're all the way leading with Gargano. It seemed to be now you can insert Dunne there, and I have no problem with that. And I thought also that's another thing. Mello lost his match, but the way they did it, he still looked strong. The fact that you needed Loomis to take out Trick, and then you needed a little distraction from Gargano, that makes Mello look like all the things he say he. And like you said, he is by far the bright spot. Like Braun Breaker is cool, and then you have some of these other young guys that are okay, and are at least entertaining. And then you have Carmelo Hayes, who I think is on a whole nother level, who fits right in with a lot of the old greats that we already appreciated in NXT.
Yeah, I think we're about to. All right, so one last episode, we start off with Dexter Loomis versus Tony D'Angelo, and Dexter has drawn a caricature of Tony sleeping with dishes. D'Angelo managed to escape to the outside where he used Loomis's easel to distract the ref. This allowed him to poke Loomis in the eye and hit a swinging net breaker for a 3 count. Afterwards, Hayes and Williams they trapped Loomis's arm in a steel chair and hit him with a diamond stomp. Gargano made the save too late. Well, where the fuck was he? Where do you think
what was he doing?
He's 2-on-1 disadvantage. Jackson was moaning on the AW show about Tay Conti being allowed to be, teamed up on. It's like, where the fuck, Johnny? Come on. But he did manage to come back out and challenge Mello for the North American Championship, but Pete Dunne took offense after defeating the champ last week. Mello and Trick appeared in the crowd to accept both challenges, setting up a triple threat match next week. Why treat Loomis like this? And Dunne got cut off as well.
I agree. I don't really understand. I think we've talked about this before. Even when I thought they weren't really sure what to do with Loomis, he lost way too much for somebody and not to say he's just like crazy great in the ring, but what I mean, his character work. It seemed like you would want to depict him as more of a threat than he actually comes off to be, wrestling wise or in the ring wise. Yeah, he's creepy. Yeah, he's he makes us laugh with the way they present him in the paintings and how the way they use him is cool. But after all that wears off, what is he about in the ring? And I think him losing in a match like this, to D'Angelo, who, is what it is, but he hasn't done much before this other than squash matches. And like I said, I think he could be decent in the ring. But D'Angelo, the thing I like the most about D'Angelo is his mannerism and the way he talks and his character work. It has nothing much to do with it in his ring. And I didn't like the cheapness, just a little eye poke and then a finisher and it's over. It was disappointing. But the attack after the match added heat to the Hayes and Gargano feud. I do not like that Loomis is basically getting used to build heat for a whole nother thing. I think he he's meant for more. He can do a lot more, and hopefully over time, or in a few weeks that can change up. But this promo segment was really, really good. I love Pete Dunne highlighting the fact that, Melo, you can keep saying you're the leader of this new school stuff, but I'm the same age as you, and I got 10 years plus of experience. Like I love that point. It's such a strong point. I think people forget how young Dunne is and how much he's accomplished so far. It makes you kind of forget that he is that young. He does have such a bright future. That's why I think they were smart as I don't know what to make sure they locked Pete Dunne back into his contract. You do not want to lose somebody that good. That he's already this young. Like him and Rhea Ripley, like with their age and how good they are, they remind. I use Rhea Ripley because I know she's younger, and it's just like they're really, really good at their age. Those are people that you just can't let go. And I think Dunne has only scratched the surface of what he can do in WWE, and leading to this huge triple threat match. This is the right decision. I think this has been the strongest feud. I think obviously that we've talked about how good Hayes is, but I think all together when you think about what Gargano, what Hayes has been doing on his own, and then what Dunne is and what he can do, this is the strongest match that they have made and built in 2.0, really, if you ask me, almost, even over, some of the world championship matches they've had. So I really like the focus that they've given these guys, and I think this match can really be special.
Yeah, I'll go where Dunne goes. And like I said, the North American title match will be on the next NXT update that we bring you. And we go backstage with Malcolm Bivens. We see him with Joe Gacy. And Joe tells Roderick Strong he has an obligation to keep the door open for opportunities. And Bivens tells him they have tryouts in 2 weeks. And he can pay like anybody else. And Gacy takes the card. Then we see LA Knight vignette where he talks about he's a megastar regardless of how NXT treats him. He wants Grayson Waller stopped. We then get Diamond Mine, Brutus, and Roderick Strong versus Jacket Time and Jones. Strong managed to get the big man up for an Olympic slam, but Jiro made the save. He hit a jacket punch on Strong, followed by a big punch from Kushida by Jones to take the win. This was all right.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was fine. It was cool. Even in a tag team match, a 6-man tag team match, Ikemen and Jiro get his ass beat most of it. So that's a nice touch, I guess. Jones was presented really well. And, the babyface is going over on Diamond Mine finally after a lot of the cheap stuff that they've been doing to Kushida and the crew for a while. This was solid.
Well, we get Grizzly Young Vets video chatting with Gibson's grandma, claimed to be the new tag champions and crowning about Lion Shirley inheritance, leaving to go return the title belts to Toxic Attraction.
Like, when did they become this?
I don't know what happened. We must have missed our own update where the Grizzly Young Vets went from what they were to this, I suppose. But
I don't understand, man. It's just like such a shift. Like they're doing some of the weirdest. Like I don't know. I know we're not supposed to cheer for them because they're scamming and they're lying and whatever. But it's just I don't understand. They were fine. Like doing promos before their matches, letting their work speak for itself. They were perfectly fine with that formula. I don't understand the vignettes and what direction they're going with GYV. It's so unnecessary, but I'm used to that at this point.
Well, we get MSK and a vignette there. Supplies.
Oh, goodness.
Make it through the scanners, and Wesley screws it up by switching flights, so they have to travel separate. Make the flights and hug out. They miss each other off meeting the shaman. Andre Chase versus Quinn. Chase had a
What the hell is that, too, by the way? You know what MSK doing? I don't know what the hell they doing either.
I don't know. But the shaman would be Morrison, but they're going to have to meet him at his own home now, unfortunately.
Right. That's the only shaman I know.
Exactly. Andre Chase versus Quinn. Like I said, a cheering this match, but they watched the professor get dominated with Chase with a jackhammer. Afterwards, Wilder Mendoza struck, aided by returning Santos Escobar. Electra Lopez told him no one said no to her before, and the Emperor chokes down Quinn hard on the floor. I guess payback's a bitch then, you know?
Bro, okay. So, first and foremost, as far as the match go, at least Zion is not doing a damn running forearm. He's doing at least he's doing some type of jackhammer. Yeah, he did a fake jackhammer or whatever it was he had going on. I'm going to keep thinking Andre Chase could be brilliant, but again, WWE don't care. because he's at this point he's Java level. You see Andre Chase, you know he's not gonna win. I don't know why I expected something else, but anyway, Electra is attractive, right? We get it. I get that, and she gets what she wants. That's what she wants to get over, and I get it. But you really doing all of this to this man because he wouldn't join your group? He never said he wouldn't be with her. He never said he wouldn't attempt to be with her. He just didn't want to join the group. Like, this is a soap opera, right? Like, what am I watching, James? What am I reviewing?
Honestly, it is just shit. And it is this episode. I mean, we got Gonzalez been interviewed. She says she's not had a good night's rest since Halloween Havoc. The title become part of you. One shot to night is about revenge. She's going to be a Dakota Kai with her own shovel. And then we get that, which is quite good. And then we get the poker showdown by Grimes and Hudson. And I love Cameron Grimes. I mean, I've grown to love him. And this was probably
He tried.
But it's like they do not want us to watch NXT. Like,
They don't.
see Grimes bluffed Hudson into folding win a hand. And then the Technical Savage had, obviously, bluffed Hudson, attacked him, pounded the table. He then pulled out a pair of scissors, cut Grimes' hair and beard until officials convinced him to back off. So Grimes, but it's like, what was the end goal?
I have no clue. I have no clue with this game. I told you from the beginning. I think we both admitted after watching the breakout tournament that we thought Duke Hudson had potential, and ever since they brought up this stupid poker gimmick with him, they have literally tried to make me ignore all of that potential and just say I want to turn this off whenever he comes on my screen, and it's not even his fault. It's just what they have him doing. I could care less about your poker hand. I thought it was I couldn't believe that we had a whole promo segment going back and forth to set up another poker game because one person was mad he lost the other poker game that I didn't want to see. So they make us sit through this. I don't know about the UK, but over here, when I was growing up, they would air the World Series of Poker on television, and it's some of the most boring television, just watching people play poker. I'm pretty sure it's interesting to some people. I know it's interesting to people, as a matter of fact. People in my family who enjoyed it. I have always found it boring. It bored the hell out of me. This bored the hell out of me. The only thing that was good was the entertaining banter between the commentators and also the banter, because Barrett is always good for one-liners. Thank God for Vic Barrett and Belt in general for a lot of the things that they do to keep us going through these shows, because if it wasn't for some of the things that Barrett says, I don't know if I would enjoy the show as much as I do. And then, like I said, Cameron Grimes was trying. He tried to have the banter or to say the things to involve the crowd to entertain him, but even he can't save this. It was just a waste of time. I mean, I guess this is a little story that can lead to some payback down the line, especially shaving his hair and trimming the hair of Grimes and all that. So I guess that's something of it. But hopefully Duke is now done with this whole poker thing, and he's going to just start beating people up again or start doing that. He's a big guy. I don't understand what's the point of giving him the poker gimmick. Some of these gimmicks are just gimmicks just to have one. You don't even have to do that a lot of times. Just let a guy go out there and work and establish an identity. But, a lot of this 2.0, in my opinion, a lot of the character work has been overthought. And this is another one of them.
It's just bad, and we see Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. And he says he saw Von Wagner on SmackDown, but he's not worried about it because he's not going to be here after December. We get Britton Jensen versus O'Reilly and Wagner. Wagner was unaffected by the offense of Briggs and Brooks. Kyle O'Reilly spelled the big man and helped to get alone in the ring to hit a double underhook side slam for the win. Imperial watched backstage were unimpressed by the win of the developing team. This was just utter filler. Indy Hartwell and Persia are outside the trainer's room, worried about Dexter Loomis. Persia tells her she's got this and go be with her husband.
She does.
Persia, I don't like her. The one thing I don't like, I like less than her wrestler act. Would be fair. We get a new episode of Lashing Out where Kaylee realizes rolls up and crashes to spill. Tonight, he said he hasn't paid his business about wins and losses anymore. It's about likes and followers. I detested everything Grayson Waller said about professional wrestling.
Me too. Oh my god!
Oh, just because you haven't slept in cars in gyms, like what paid your dues, you little mug.
Oh my God! Like, go away! Like, I wanted him to go away the moment I saw his horrible gear selection, but then week after week after week, he has tried his best to annoy the hell out of me every week, and they forced him to. They told us he weren't gonna host, and they forced him to host, and oh my, Grayson Waller can just please go away. GW, go away. That is not. I know away starts with an A, but he stressed me out that much that I just want his initials to work that way.
I used to do the ooh-ee-ooh-ah-ah, and even now, I don't want to anymore, you know. But we move on. Perotta fought two local competitors alone. She stacked up Gabby Stevens and Jenny Levi on her shoulders for a double smoking drop and hit an F5 to take the victory. Stone watched closely from the stage. Why would
creepily?
Why would Indy Hartwell even have to be a part of this? You know, Kai's
what difference would she would have made?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was the point? Kai's interview backstage felt really good, hit Raquel with a shovel, and she's been lost since TakeOver. Remind Cloudy and purge her past. The traction roll up, and Dakota tells them that they owe her twice. Coming off, Grizzled Young Vets roll up and hand the titles back and try to claim they got the titles from the tech guy. Tommaso Ciampa was ready to talk about all the young stars calling him out. However, he stopped himself, deciding to speak in the ring. Bron Breakker arrived to call his shot. The ex-champion was not interested in the face of the man he defeated. It's nice words by Ciampa, but he is fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, I mean, like, nobody who's stepping up to him, because even if you like Breakker, you got to be honest, he's not on Ciampa's level. So, like, and this is what I wondered. I thought when I was listening to this segment and I was thinking about what Ciampa's been able, or what the position he's now in, it just really made me wonder what the hell Samoa Joe was going to be doing with NXT 2.0. Like, who is really on his level? So he was going to be in this position fighting these kids, choking them out and having to teach them a lesson. Like, oh my goodness, like it only gets worse the more I think about it. The main event scene, like Carmelo Hayes is not necessarily lying right now. There ain't nothing Ciampa can really do about it, even though he is the man. It's just who is on that level that you can even consider that's a good threat to Ciampa at this point. I don't know. Like you said, he's fighting a losing battle creatively, and it ain't really much he can do about it except beat Ciampa, and he's just try his best.
Yeah, this is a shame, but our last match, our main event, Dakota Kai versus Raquel Gonzalez, and Kai laughed in the face of the intensity of Gonzalez. She ducked a larger opponent who went hard into the steel post after running KO kick outside. She took over, stomping Big Mama Cool in the mat. The captain of the team kick grabbed a shovel, which Gonzalez stole away. Toxic traction struck, saving Kai and caused action. So a DQ in a match we were really looking forward to. Cora Jade was fuck off. She tried to save Gonzalez, but both women got beat down. So Stark walked out on crutches, and it's Io Shirai, who went mental. I mean, they probably said to her, hit us a few times, and Io just went for it. She was not. She grabbed the mic, and as the crowd knew, she said, "War Games." What were your thoughts?
Up until the DQ finish, that match was really strong, man. With no title in the mix, with Kai's recent character actions and all that, man, you couldn't really go into this having an idea thinking that it wasn't like, I thought in the title match, there was no way Raquel was losing. But in this encounter, you didn't really know how to predict it. And I do like the sadistic element that Kai has added to her character, the shovel. I don't mind it. But yeah, the DQ finish killed all that work for nothing. And the brawl or whatever, setting up War Games, and Io, like you said, doing what she does best, and just having Io say it and announce it was just cool. And I think that's a great way to end the show, a great way to signal War Games. Even if you could care less about most of the women in the match, I guess, other than Dakota Kai, Io, and Raquel, and but either way it goes, I don't know. War Games is usually, I really think NXT with War Games is relying on the format. Like they relied on the name of Halloween Havoc. I didn't think the Halloween Havoc show felt like a real, like, special. Same thing can be said, going forward with War Games. I hope it can be as special as War Games in the past, but are we really? I don't think it's really fair to even really hold them up to those expectations. And I also think this is a creative way to put off Io Shirai getting pinned by Mandy Rose.
Yeah, no, I think that's true, and I'll get your final thoughts on NXT in a minute. But I did notice something. I noticed it on SmackDown a little while back. But with NXT now, they have actual fake fans on the screen all around the arena in the shadows. So it looks like there's extra. So I noticed that, and I don't know if I'm doing it. But I thought, that's very... I mean, that's right. It's like not right about fake. There's one thing having the Thunderdome compared to making own fans. We've got 50,000 fans in the arena, 40,000. But the match had so much story behind it. It was enjoyable, like I said, until the end. Rating wise, has everybody been enjoying as much as you and I have? Well, the past episode we just reviewed, 504,000 network, down 4.8% last week, and the demographic is down as well. So it looks like WWE have nitroed NXT. What was one of the best shows in wrestling has been turned. We have got lots more Monty podcasts, and now fucking. But what are your final? Because like I said, we've given it a lot of shit, but there was a couple of.
I agree. Like I said, overall, it's actually in a better place than I think in our last review, and especially when they debuted. Like we've been harsh on NXT for a little while now, but like I said, and I don't know if it's because I took a little time to get used to some of the changes, get used to some of these new faces, and there's some things that I may not ever get used to, and some things I may still have some time to get used to, whatever. And but they still have a lot of flaws. You got to wade through a lot of nonsense to get to the stuff you really like. You know what I mean? You gotta. It's just like, for example, I'm pretty sure next week going forward into the NXT Triple Threat North American Championship match, we're gonna have to wade through at least an hour and 30 minutes of nonsense to get to that special encounter that I think that if you've been paying attention, you will enjoy if they get the chance to get the time that they will deserve, and I'm pretty sure they will. If you compare NXT to the old NXT through the lens of the old NXT, it falls short completely in a lot of ways. But if you view it for what it is right now, and you look at it as a totally new product with just the label of 2.0, if certain things are done, I could possibly be more interested in 2.0, but at the same time, we all know that they also got so much nonsense there that I could also be even more against 2.0 as we go, depending on what direction they decide to lean in. Yeah. My best advice is focus more on guys like Carmelo Hayes, give more spotlight to more wrestling again. Like, that's the one thing that I miss the most about this new era 2.0. We get a lot more promos, a lot more talking, and a whole lot less wrestling. And I mean it literally. If you just go to the details, most of the matches that I reviewed were 5 to 6 to 7 minutes. And I understand that a lot of these guys may not be quite ready for the 10 to 15 minute matches, but I don't think they need to be on television in that case. Or you can't, you have to take your time presenting these characters. You can't have 5 people who you think can only go 5 minutes and present them all at the same time. You're just exposing all of their weaknesses. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. The future may be bright, but at the same time, it may not be.
The thing is, for everybody listening, with experience with wrestling shows and stuff like this, there'll be a few things that might happen. NXT 2.0 might improve into something that is a lot better than we were expecting, but we can't look at NXT and NXT 2.0, like you say, on the same page. The thing is, with the old 2.0, it got eventually replaced by, I don't know if NXT 2.0 and the name versus AEW will slowly be taken away and made in, but we still have NXT UK as well. So if you want the old, then go and watch the UK version, and we have to 2.0 actually is. But that is it today. I mean, Monty, again, I really appreciate you having to put up with NXT 2.0 as we do the reviews.
Look at what you put me through.
It's like investigating a murder case. We're finding details out that are very important to people. And the information as well. Like, don't forget, we're across all social media. Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Plug your stuff, Monty.
At Mind Monty Pod. So you can just check out all my links there. I have a link tree that can send you to all of my new podcasts, anything that I'm working on right now, anything I have worked on so far. And we just put out our own breakdown of the releases, our own breakdown of this horrible build, in my opinion, to Survivor Series. Just one of the laziest builds that I can think of overall. If you just take the whole card into play, they lucked into 2 stories. You can hear more about that on my newest episode on my podcast, the Mind the Monty podcast. You can find it on any podcasting platform when you look it up. And, like I said, follow me on Twitter at Mind Monty Pod.
Well, WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, across all Google platforms. Send us an email, the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. We have all latest clips and podcasts at the same time, and YouTubers do SoundCloud on your phone, and also Spotify and iTunes. We can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. And that is it. The next episode is Jaxie for Survivor Series. But much like you said, Monty, usually with Survivor Series, we've done the WNR live shows before, even with predictions and polls. None of that this year. If WWE cannot be bothered to do an event properly, then I or WNR will not look at it. We'll review the pay-per-view as is, but none of the extra detail or none of the extra because they can't be bothered. And I think, like I said, I agree. Fair enough. Next with Monty, like I said, it is NXT UK, so there's a little bit of light, I suppose, in the darkness. What is watching WWE sometimes? But until then, I'm James Rowlands, and I was joined by Monty again. Thank you very much for joining me, buddy.
Thanks you again. It's always fun. I can't wait for next time. Let's talk about some actual wrestling competition under the WWE banner. Let's get into it. I can't wait to do that. Looking forward to it, and I appreciate this opportunity, and these shows are always fun. And I thanks again, man. That's all I can say.
No, I was going to say thank you for being on, and thanks everybody for listening. Bye.
Yes. Adios.